Well, welcome, Mario.
Thank you.
Today we got Mario here that's on the podcast just to talk about all things mortgages. Mario been in the mortgage industry for 20 something years now. So I just figured that he'd be able to help us navigate the mortgages and get through that part of it. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Who are you, Mario? Tell us. I know you because we went to school together.
Yeah.
We're from Norwalk, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Mario Pansino. I'm a home lending officer with Citibank. I was born and raised in Norwalk, Connecticut. Right? Like you mentioned, we went to school together, middle school, high school. Yeah. We did live in Italy for about 5 years. We were born. My family moved us back there for about 5-6 years, and then we came back. But we were born here, right up the street, Norwalk Hospital. And as you mentioned, I've been in the mortgage industry for 20 plus years. It's pretty much all I really know, right? It's all I've been doing, and the joy and satisfaction of helping people buy homes, get into homes. I don't think there's really that much more of a greater feeling. Making people, live that American dream, which is buying a home. And being a part of that transaction is very satisfying for me.
That's awesome that you get to do that and help people and stuff like that. That's awesome. So tell us what made you go into the mortgage industry? What made you go that route?
That's a great question. And I never thought about being in the real estate or mortgage world. What got me into the business was my father. My father was a real estate agent. He actually pushed and wanted me to become a real estate agent. And believe it or not, I actually went through the classes and all the training. And I'm like, I don't know if I really want to do this. So as a father, he's like, well, what do you want to do with yourself? He goes, what about mortgages? And I was like, oh, I never really thought about it. And he happened to have a friend who owned a mortgage company in Stanford. And he got me a job working at that company. I was 20, 21, 22 years old. And I pretty much filed papers for 6 months just to learn the business, what it takes to get a mortgage. And one of the owners was he was a guy from a Bowery bank in New York City, so he was an intelligent man, pretty much taught me everything about mortgages. So from there is where I found my love to do mortgages. So to answer the question again, it's my father was a real estate agent, still is a real estate agent, and got me into this business. And from there is where I thrived and advanced my career throughout the years.
That's what's up. Yeah. No, that's awesome. So we're talking and we want to help new home buyers, like people that are just getting started, looking to get into maybe investing or even buying their first property. What kind of programs and stuff do you have to help them?
Yeah, it's a great question. I love working with first-time home buyers. Again, trying to attain that American dream. But there's so many programs out there that are available that most people don't even know about.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone thinks traditionally you need to put down 20% to buy a home. It's not even the case anymore. There's a ton of programs with minimal down payments as low as 3%. If you're doing some conventional loans, 3.5% if you're taking advantage of an FHA, which is a federally insured loan. But there's also programs that have down payment assistance.
Okay.
Right? So if you are a buyer and maybe you have some money saved up, but when it comes to buying a home, there's other expenses you're gonna face.
Yeah.
Maybe new furniture, maybe you want to redo the kitchen, the bathroom, the house. So there's programs out there that will help you with down payment. So now you're not even coming to the table with any money at all or very little money to buy this home. And I try to educate as many people as possible into looking into these programs, take advantage of the programs, because they'll help you with the 20% down payment. They'll help you with a portion of the down payment. They'll even help you with closing costs.
Okay.
So now you don't even have to worry about that aspect of it, which, buying a house here in Fairfield County, it's expensive. And closing costs add up. Bank fees, attorney fees, then your escrowing, your taxes and insurance. So all this money, it needs to be brought to closing.
Yeah.
And you have to anticipate, maybe another $10,000, $15,000, depending on the home price and taxes, right? But it's a cost that people don't know it's there.
Yeah.
So these programs out there will help them with that.
Yeah.
Right? And again, if you have some money saved, we can use your money. We could take advantage of those other programs for down payment assistance. It's just trying to educate people so that they understand what's available to them and give them the best possible options to buy a home.
So if you were a new home investor or first time buying a property or looking to get into the investment game but new, what would be your suggestion for getting started?
I mean, I always feel that if you can jump into buying property and being a landlord and owning investment properties and earning investment income, it's a great opportunity. So for investors, there's a lot of programs out there. Whether you do the traditional route and you're putting down 20-25%, because most investment properties are going to require that. But there's also other programs out there that might have something with a little bit less down payment. Maybe you don't have to verify your income as much. You can use rental income to qualify. And that's a big thing, right? So you're buying an investment property, this might be a multifamily, there's rental income. We can use that to help you qualify for your mortgage and pretty much offset that current payment, right?
Yeah.
So if you're an investor and you're looking to jump in, multifamilies I strongly recommend, right? Because you can build in, take in some great rental income.
Yeah.
Obviously there's condos out there, there's single family homes you can buy, but investing, I would strongly suggest if you are ready to do that and have some money put aside for down payment, it's a great option.
Yeah. So, but for buying a multifamily to live in or house hacking, can you still do the low down payment down if you plan on living in one of the units and then renting out the other units? Like I always suggest possibly buying like a 4-family, living in one of the units, and then renting out the other 3 units, and now you have that rental income mostly paying most of your mortgage.
Yeah, so to answer your question, if you're gonna occupy the property yourself and it's a multifamily, you can use the rental income from the other unit or multiple units to help you qualify to buy that home. And like you mentioned, low down payment.
Yeah.
You don't need to put down a traditional 20-25 when you're gonna be occupying the property yourself. There's programs with 3.5% or 5% down, which is more affordable for the buyer today. So that's a great way to start, right?
Yeah.
And I started that way. I bought a 2-family house. I lived on the lower level. I was fortunate enough to have friends live upstairs. I never went without rent. Knock on wood that everyone has the same success.
Yeah.
But it's a strong rental market. People are looking to rent homes. So if you've got a great place, you should not have any trouble renting, number one. Number two, it's gonna offset that cost, just as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And if you see the way rents are going today,
Yeah.
you can't go rent a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom apartment for what you're gonna pay in that mortgage.
No.
So buying a multifamily, taking in rental income, using that as a starter home to get your feet wet in that investment, being a landlord is a very great option.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So that's for the new investor that's just getting started buying that. So for the person like us, I had actually a buddy that I met with the other day that's looking to get into investing, but they're already established, they already have a house, kids, and now they're looking to get into investing also. I guess what are maybe some suggestions to help that person as far as loan programs, like maybe doing a second home loan or those type of things? What are some options for those type of?
Yeah, so if you currently own a home and you've got equity in that home, you could tap into that equity, whether you refinance that mortgage and take out additional money to use for a down payment on the next purchase. A lot of people are taking advantage of home equity lines of credit. They'll take them, you don't pay anything on them until you use the money. So while you're searching and looking for the right place, you have the down payment ready to go, and you're not paying interest on it until you use the money. So that's another great option. Or if you just got money saved and you're looking to put that money to work for you, because it's not making you any money in your bank, right? Because those savings and checking accounts don't pay a lot of return, right? But real estate is known to pay a great return. Yeah. So putting your money to work is a great option, whether you have savings or you're taking some equity from your current home. Both great options to do.
Have options to get into that. All right. Awesome. So what what different type of loan programs do you have for that type of investor? As far as someone that already owns a home, is it just a regular investment loans, or like let's say they were to buy a place in like Florida and do it as a second home, like isn't it a 10% option for doing something like that of that nature?
Yeah, so you can you can buy loans in any state, obviously, and if it's considered a second home, there's lower down payment options.
Yeah.
Maybe you're buying it as a second home, you're going to use it as a second home, and then things change and you move that to an investment property. So the down payment requirements would be less for second home. The investment properties, because of the risk, a lot of lenders are looking for 20% or more. Now there's lenders out there that might have something with a lower down payment. Traditionally for us, I do a traditional, regular conventional mortgage, 20% down, 25% down. But there's a lot of people in the industry that I've worked with, that I've known, that I've referred. And if there's different options available and you need that option, we'll get you to the right place, right?
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So for a new investor or someone looking to get started into investing, who is the first person that they should talk to? Like, do they go to a realtor first? Do they come to a mortgage person first? They try to figure out what they qualify for? Like, how do they get started?
Yeah, so I always, my recommendation is always try to get qualified. For know what you can afford.
Yeah.
And maybe you can afford it, but you also want to know what that payment looks like. And even though it's an investment and you're going to be taking in rental income, is the rental income going to cover your mortgage?
Yeah.
Is it going to make you some additional money each month, or you need to put money into it? So you want to understand what payments are looking like based on current interest rates, down payment, mortgage amount. So you can factor or budget yourself.
Yeah.
Say, okay, this payment's going to be X. I'm going to take in Y. Does this all make sense for me?
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, rent rolls will change depending on location, where you're buying, so on and so forth. But I would strongly suggest to start with speaking to a loan officer, understanding the budget, understanding your cost, what it's going to take, and then once you determine that you want to move forward, getting pre-approved or even going through underwriting, and then start working with a real estate agent and trying to find some properties.
All right, so for people that want to get into real estate and stuff like that, I always suggest that they get around realtors or get around people or groups, or come to meetups. I host a meetup, by the way. We'll post it down below, but come to meetups and get around people that do real estate. One of the ways that they can do that is to get into the mortgage industry and do mortgages to get used to that side of it. What can they do to get into the mortgage industry if that's a direction that they decided they wanted to go?
So depending on which way you want to get into mortgage, so there's the federal way, which is working with a bank, right? Banks like Citibank, Chase, Wells Fargo, stuff like that, or any small local bank. Or there's the state way, which is working for a direct lender or broker, where you need to be licensed on the state side, right? So when you're working with banks, you don't need to be licensed. You need to obtain an NMLS number, and you have to register yourself with the NMLS, and they give you a number. You go through various questions and some screening, background screening and stuff like that. And then you would be issued an NMLS number and you could work for a bank, right? If you're trying to go the route of the state, you need to be individually licensed in each state. So you would need to study for a test. You will need to pass an exam, and then you'll be licensed in that particular state. There's some probably 20 hours of classes you have to take, and then pass the test, as I mentioned. And you can do that now. I mean, if somebody's looking to get in the mortgage industry, you can go on, you can take all the state licensing, you can get licensed in multiple states. You just need to take not necessarily multiple tests, but continuing education or the hours required for that state.
Okay.
So for example, we live in Connecticut. We want to do business in Connecticut, but we touch New York, we touch Massachusetts, we're close to New Jersey. You might want to take these surrounding states, or maybe say, you know what, I want to get a license in Florida because a lot of people from this area move south. So you have to figure out or get all the information, continuing education for those states, and do all those online trainings. And then you would need to take one test and pass that national test. And then you could become licensed in those states, and then you could be hired by small lenders, brokers that are in the area.
So I know you went to work for a small lender at one point. So then did you have to get licensed?
So great question. So I was already licensed because I worked for another small lender. So I already went through the test part. But yes, to answer your question, I needed to get licensed. I came from the banking world. I went to work for a small lender. I needed to get licensed. I needed to study and take tests. And then once I became licensed, my license, even though it was inactive because I went back to the bank, it was still there. So when I went back to another small lender, all I had to do was reactivate it and do the continuing education classes. So it was a lot easier for somebody who already went through it. But starting up and studying and taking a test, especially if you haven't done it in a while. I mean, we've been out of school for a long time, right? So believe it or not, it's like, wow, and this is what it used to be like to study. So it could be difficult, right? And those tests are not made, they're made to trick you a little bit, right? They're going to ask you questions and word them a little different, just to try to throw you off a little bit. So you really, really got to read the question. And a lot of times you can do process of elimination and figure maybe it's definitely not these two, but it's going to be one of these two. And you just got to make sure you get it right. But studying could be tough if you haven't done it in a while.
It's definitely been a while. I'll read, but studying is a whole different beast.
And a lot of the stuff around it is laws. State laws, state requirements. Where when you work for a lender, they've got people that handle a lot of that stuff. Right? So I don't want to say you don't need to know it, but you don't need to have it. You're not an attorney, right? So you don't need to have it at your fingertips.
Absolutely.
Because the people in the back office are handling all that stuff for you. But you got to make sure you know it and pass it. Otherwise, you won't get licensed.
Absolutely. So you've been in the mortgage industry for a while. You help a lot of people. Do you have any goals that you set for being able to help, or how many people you trying to help this year, or any other goals? I mean, I see you've lost a bunch of weight. And you're living a healthier life. I mean, what are you doing as far as that anyway? I mean, I need to figure out what it is. I need some help, Mario. Help me out. Like, what are we doing? How are you doing this?
So one of my goals for 2024 was to kind of get back into shape, right? I over the years, I suffered some knee injuries. I wasn't able to exercise and do as many, the normal routines I used to do: play basketball, be outside, just doing stuff, running. So I made it a goal this year to get back on track, and I was able to lose 80 pounds.
That's awesome.
I did that by calorie deficiency, right? So I watched what went in. And I limited myself to about 1,200 calories a day. So it sounds like it could be rough, but the first couple of weeks it is tough. And once you get in that routine and you're eating small meals and you're eating them throughout the day, and you're drinking a lot of water. I mean a lot of water. A gallon of water or more. It actually becomes very easy. And then the weight naturally was just coming off, was allowing me to get back in the gym because I felt more energized. So obviously mixing in some weightlifting and additional cardio now that I can do because less stress on my joints.
Absolutely.
It was just a whole different world for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I haven't lost quite as much as you. I lost about 60 pounds since I started my weight loss.
That's awesome.
So I did it but I tell you, I'm the lazy person. So I take the easiest route possible. have somebody deliver my meals, and that way I know exactly what I'm eating, how much meat, how much calories it is, and that way it's a simple meal prep service that I get delivered. I don't think about it.
That's
Just
great.
reach in the refrigerator, take it out.
Yeah, so I enjoy cooking.
Yeah.
My wife enjoys cooking.
Okay.
So what to make it easy for myself, yes, I would prep meals.
Yep.
So either like a Sunday and Wednesdays I would use as a meal prep day. I try to, because I want to make sure that everything I'm cooking is fresh, so I don't want to let it go all week.
Yep.
So Sundays I'd prep for, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday night I would prep for the rest of the week. And just get everything ready, and once it's there cooked and it's in the fridge, it's so much easier
Absolutely.
to control what's going in.
Absolutely.
Because when you're hungry and you're searching for food,
Yeah.
that's when the problem is.
That's when the problem.
That's when you just start eating.
Yep. Absolutely.
And even though you think you're
Yeah.
eating healthy, or you are eating healthy,
Yeah.
but you're hungry, you eat more and more and more. It just comes down to that,
Yeah.
how many calories are you taking in, right?
Okay.
So, and as your body loses weight and your metabolism is speeding up and you're burning, you'll be able to take in more calories.
Yeah.
I was just very strict and regiment with it because I wanted to lose as much weight as I possibly could, and it did.
No, it look awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what other goals? What any other besides health? You seem to be conquering that one pretty well. Any other goals or anything that you got that you're trying to do this year?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm a family man. I got a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful daughters at home, so I try to do everything possible for them, right?
Yeah.
That's my meaning in life and purpose is work hard for them. My goal is to always, when it comes to working, is to help as many people as possible, right?
Yeah.
I set specific goals for myself. I made a career change again this year, going back to working at the bank. So, my goals are a little bit off because of the movement, and things kind of get thrown a curveball in a way, right?
Yeah.
So you need to kind of restart a little bit. But my goal is always to help as many people as possible, meet with as many people as possible. I'm a big networker. I love going out and meeting people, shaking hands and talking face to face is for me it's what I know how to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like sitting behind the phone or sitting behind the desk. Out and about is the way to go. But my goal is just to always help as many people as possible, close as many loans as possible.
Yeah.
But it starts with doing the work up front, right? Meeting with
Absolutely.
people, talking to people, your centers of influence, your referral partners, always staying in contact with them.
Yeah. No, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Mario, I appreciate you coming on with me. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, it's a pleasure's all mine.
Great talking to you, and just learning about the mortgage industry and what we can do to help more people get into mortgages. And hopefully, we could bring you back on. Maybe talk about any other new programs or anything that might be coming on, and that'd be awesome.
Great, I'll be happy to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thanks for coming.